Today we're going to be solving multi-step equations. In order to solve a multi-step equation, we're going to be using inverse operations to isolate our variable. Another way of saying isolate the variable is saying that I want to get that variable by itself. In order to do this when you have multiple steps, you have to be aware of your order of operations. We are not trying to find the answer to our equation, we're actually working backwards and trying to find a missing part of the equation. Since we're working backwards, we're also going to be tackling order of operations in reverse. So let's do an example to see how this works. In this first example, it says the height in feet of a tree after X years is 1.5x plus 15. And after how many years, they want to know, will the tree be 24 feet tall? So 1.5 times x plus 15 represents the height of the tree. And we want to know when the height of the tree is going to be equal to 24. This variable is unknown and stands for the number of years. Okay? So in order to solve this, I want to isolate my variable. I want to get x by itself. And I have some multiplication and some addition. Since I'm working in reverse, I want to get rid of the addition first. Usually, subtraction and addition are the last steps in order of operations. When working backwards, they're going to be the first thing we get rid of. So I'm subtracting 15 here to get rid of the plus 15. And the cardinal rule of solving equations, I need to do it to both sides in order to keep the equation balanced. And I end up with 1.5x equals 9. I still don't have x isolated by itself. I need to get rid of the 1.5. So I'm going to divide each side by 1.5. And I get x equals 6. So in this case, it will be 6 years before the tree is 24 feet tall. Let's take a look at another equation. In this equation, we're going to have to do some combining of like terms before we solve. I notice that I have two x variables in this problem. I have 8x minus 6x minus 25 equals negative 35. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to combine my variables. I'm going to combine those x's. 8x minus 6x actually is going to give me 2x. Now that I've combined like terms, I can go on with solving my equation. So the first thing I'm going to do is get rid of that subtraction, that minus 25. I'm going to do that by adding 25 to each side. So I end up with 2x here equals negative 10. For my second step, I'll divide each side by 2. And I get x equals negative 5. Let's try one more. In this case, I have to do some distributing before I can solve this problem. I'm going to distribute this 2 to everything inside the parentheses. So I'm going to have 2 minus 10x plus 4 equals negative 8. Now, before I go any further, I notice there's some combining of like terms I can do in this problem also. I have a 2 and I have a plus 4. So if I combine these two, I'm going to get 6. 6 minus 10x equals negative 8. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to get rid of this 6. Because if I change this problem to add the opposite, I would notice I'm adding the 6 here. And I want to get rid of anything that I'm adding. So I'm left with negative 10x equals negative 14. And now I'm going to divide each side by negative 10. Well, in this case, I have a double negative. Those are going to cancel each other out. It's just 14 tenths, which I can reduce to 1 and 4 tenths, and reduce further to 1 and 2 fifths. let's take a look at one more problem. This is a real life application. It says, use the table to find the number of miles, which is going to be represented by the variable x, the number of miles that you need to run on Friday so that the mean number of miles run per day is 1.5. So when we're finding the mean, we're actually adding up all of the numbers and dividing by how many numbers we added up. So in this case, I ran 2 miles on Monday, 0 on Tuesday, 1.5 on Wednesday, 0 on Thursday. And I'm trying to figure out how much do I really need to run on Friday if I want to have an average of 1.5. So this would be 5 days. So I'm dividing by 5 and I want my average to equal 1.5. So I'm going to start by combining like terms. So I'm adding up the 2, the 0, the 1.5, and the 0 here, and I get 3.5 plus x divided by 5 equals 1.5. Well, when I'm solving this problem, the last thing I'm going to do in this case is I'm going to divide by 5. So it's going to be the first thing I get rid of. I'm going to multiply each side by 5, so this is going to cancel out here. And I'm going to do 1.5 times 5, I get 7.5. So now I just have to get rid of this plus 3.5. I'm subtracting 3.5 from each side. And I get 4. So I need to run 4 miles on Friday if I want to get my average up to 1.5 miles for the entire week.